Hey folks, this is Mr. Zero's representative here, and since I've already came out and like dissed Kirk Cameron and upped Hawkins, I guess I might as well like alienate my family some more and talk about some more Bible fallacies. And since I've already established that I'm schizotype, well, I'll explain that I don't normally debate people, especially Christians or anyone, because I'm always worried that the words are going to come out wrong because I can't keep my thoughts organized, and I'm worried that I'm going to look like an idiot, so I never really debate people. So, with that in mind, I'm just going to go straight to this and point out how I was reading the Bible one night and I saw some things that are really hard to believe. And I left out the whole beginning of Genesis with the creation. All right, this I'm starting right after Cain and Abel. Okay, right after Cain and Abel, and Adam begats. Adam begats a whole bunch of people. Then he lives like 920 years and dies. Okay, and then his begatting continues begatting. There's a lot of begatting all around. There's a whole world, a whole cluster begatting. All right, it's like it's like ham sandwich begat apple core, and apple core begat gargoyle, and gargoyle begat wall clock, and wall clock begat Santa Claus, and Santa Claus lived 500 years and then died. That's what it reads like. But what this does is it gives you a really nice way to use simple arithmetic to figure out what year the Earth is supposed to be at this point, how old the Earth is. Okay, and it ends with Noah turns 500 years old and begets Ham, Shem, and Japheth. At that age of 500, the Earth is supposed to be 1,556 years old. This is not even the flood yet. The flood happens a century later, when Noah's 600 years old. He, the Earth is 1,656 years old, and he gets told by God that he's got to build an ark because mankind has become corrupt, and he's going to destroy it. But he found that Noah and his family and his brood's good, so he's going to save them. Okay, just to be sure, that's Noah, his wife, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, 8 people going to be living on this boat together. We're talking husbands, wives, and mother-in-law and papa-in-law. Okay, you're going to have a lot of fun putting those people in one room together. But they get the whole top of the ark. Okay, the ark is split up into 3 stories. The humans get the top story. It's always that little cabin that you see on it. But okay, here's the dimensions that God gives to Noah. The Noah is supposed to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high. Okay, a cubit is supposed to be from elbow to the tips of your fingers. I did a little bit of research. The longest form of cubit used was 2.25 feet long. That would give your arc a length of 675 feet, a width of 112 and a half feet, and a height of 67 and a half feet. That 67 and a half feet. Do you know how tall that is? You go to your local high rise, find a high rise building, count the windows, okay? Go ahead, count them, count up to 7. You're too high. You're just a little bit too high there, okay? The reason why I bring up the dimensions is because every time you get in a debate with Christians on this that believe in the Bible literally, you sit there and say 2 of every animal on a boat, and they say, well, the boat was 2 football fields long. Okay, a football field is 360 feet long, infield to infield. Times that by 2, you got 720 feet. It's also 160 feet wide. They don't say double wide or anything, but it doesn't matter because, okay, at 720 feet versus 675 feet, there's a bit of a size difference. And then when you get to the width, 112 feet versus 160 feet, still a big size difference there. What you're describing here, and a good analogy would be like to take, you say, I've got a 42-inch flat screen TV at home, and your friend says, well, I'm not really sure how big that is. What is that? And you point over to a 50-inch screen and say, well, it's about as big as that, but not quite. Okay? Yeah, it's kind of close, but really taking advantage of the point there. Okay, so on to the actual what's the most likely size of this boat. Okay, the cubit is supposed to be from here to here on your arm. On mine, it's about 16 inches. Well, I also did a little bit of research. The cubit used to make the Temple of Solomon, they believe that that is 16.85 inches. That's very close to my arm length, so we'll use that. That gives you a length of 421 feet, um, a width of 70 feet, and a height of 42 feet. Okay, that's 4 stories and 2 feet added on. There you go. Count up to five. You're way too high. Okay, now let's talk about animals. Now that we've established that this boat is significantly smaller than two football fields, um, you got to get your animals on there. The story wouldn't be miraculous without this. Okay, two by two, right? Okay, God tells Noah that he's got to get on the clean animals by the sevens, male and female. This could very well mean, I took it to mean, that that's 14 of each animal. He's got to have seven male, seven female. If you just want to say it's supposed to be seven, okay, that's still a big number too. Now let's look at what are clean animals, okay? Deuteronomy gives you a list. You got 10 animals here. You've got ox, which is the cow. Okay, we all know how big a cow is. We've all seen one. Okay, comparatively, they're quite a big animal. You got sheep. They're not too small. Okay, they're the size of a big dog. You got goats. They could give your dog a good scare too. All right, you got deer. Okay, that's taller than a man. You got a gazelle. You got a yammer, which they believe is an oryx. You got the theo, which is I did some research. They think it might be the Babel hartebeest, which is as big as a moose. Then you've got a piggery, which is an antelope. You got the antelope itself, and then you got the camelopardalis, which they believe might be giraffe. So you're looking at 14 giraffes on this boat, or there's a mouflon, which is about as big as any of the other animals listed there. Okay, and then after all that, after you have 14 of each of those animals on, then you also have to get 14 ostriches on. You have to get 14 emus on. You have 14 cassowaries, 14, cranes, all right? 14 turkeys. Turkeys aren't necessarily small. We've all had to eat turkey for a Thanksgiving. Come on, those are big birds. And then you've got all the different breeds of chicken, okay? You got to get 14 of each of these on. Okay, and then you get on to just the regular animals that are two by twos, okay? Okay, you got how many species of dog are there? Then you got wolves, okay? Coyotes. Then you got hyenas. You got lions and tigers. You got to get, those on. You got to get your pumas, panthers, cougars, you know, ocelots. You got to get bears. Come on, bears. Polar bears. Those are huge. Two of those. And they're mean. The smallest bear lives in like Siberia. It's as big as me. I'd wrestle it and it would still win. You okay? It's about as tall as me, but it outweighs me by quite a bit, and I'm not a small little dude. And those are the two most aggressive species. The biggest and the smallest are the two most aggressive species of bear. Okay? How many bear attacks do you hear about a year? Okay, you're gonna put them on a boat with all these other animals. Okay, with the horses, the zebras, and the giraffes. Okay, let's think about how many breeds of horses there are. You've got Clydesdales on one end. You got Mustangs on the other end. You got ponies. Okay, and you're gonna put these animals in a boat with bears. We all know how horses are. They're gonna be running all over, driving each other nuts and killing each other because they're scared. And then you got elephants, okay? You've got the Africans and you got the Asians. Even just four of those is a lot. You got rhinos, okay? You got hippos. You got to fit all these animals on the boat, and they have to stay there for a year. They're on the boat for a year, okay? Because Noah builds the ark, and then for the next 7 days, he fills the ark full of these animals. They come to him, and then he puts them on the ark, and then they sit around. It rains for 40 days and 40 nights, and then they sit around for a year waiting for the flood to go away. Okay, they had to have food to last them the whole time. Or you could sit there, well, God made the animals. What? Did he put them in stasis? He cryogenically freeze them for the next year? Okay, let's say he did. He cryogenically frees them for the next year. Okay, fine. Okay, we won't worry about that then. Okay, then what happens? Okay, then they're unfrozen, and Noah he sends out a dove. Then 7 days later, the dove comes back with nothing. Or the dove comes back 7 days later. He waits, sends out the dove again, comes back with an olive branch. He waits another 7 days, sends the dove back. It doesn't come back at all. Then I think another 7 days go by. Then they run ashore, and then they unpack. And as we all know, the elephants ended up in Africa and Asia. The majority of marsupials they ended up in Australia. Um, we get rattlesnakes and mountain lion up in North America. The anacondas are in South America. Because that's how it all fits. That's how it all works. They all end up where they're supposed to go. Just to confuse us all and make us question this book that's supposed to be 100% true. But come on. At any rate, that's my crazy little debate with Christians. And all I'm saying is, if you're going to tell me that the Bible is 100% literal, um, then you got to explain to me how a dude lives to be 600 years old, more than 600 years old, how they all fit on a boat that is not as big as you're telling me. And even if it was, okay, how many species of animal are there on this planet? How many species? Okay, add it up. You can't win me over. You're just gonna have to admit to yourself that there must be some hyperbole going on with this book. There's some stuff that just isn't 100% true. Okay, let's get into other stories. Okay, maybe next time we'll talk about Samson Delilah. Okay, he kills off how many men with the jaw of an ass? With just a jawbone of an animal against soldiers, the Philistines. He goes around killing these guys that are armed with just a bone. At any rate, that's it for this time. Next time, maybe Samson Delilah, because that's one of my favorite movies. That's why I know so much about this. Is because I've seen Samson Delilah with Victor Mature. I can't remember the woman's name. I've seen, you know, Ben Hur. I've seen the Ten Commandments. I've seen the Greatest Story Ever Told. I was I had to watch these movies because that's all I was allowed to watch on Sundays. Between that and reading the Bible, you end up becoming very knowledgeable about religion. And the more knowledgeable about religion you become, the more skeptical you tend to be.